you're new to pool and practicing the basics, or a more experienced player performing drills to improve your shot making and positional play, the Drill Partner is perfect for you.
Boy, we are coming in hot and heavy here. I'm at the house, but the US Open's going on there in Atlantic City. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the event, whether you're there or sweating like I am back from the house. And there was a ton of good matches that started off the morning and are going to continue throughout the entire day. So I'm super pumped. But we got a special guest for you guys. Hopefully y'all can hear me and see me all right. Let me know in the chat if you can, so that we got no technical difficulties. I got a guest coming on for this one, and we're gonna keep it a little lean, and then I'll jump right into going over some of the matches that I wanted to do today. Even though I'm gonna be rolling a bit solo, so let me know in the chat. Like I said, if you guys can hear me and see me all right. We got a guy coming off of Matt says audio and video is good. Sweet. All right, we're jumping on into it then. I got a guy who really needs no introduction, but he's a Hall of Famer. He's through to the round of 32. Niels Feijen, welcome back to the show, my man. How are you?
How you doing, Mike? Good to be back.
I'm doing good, man. Congratulations. How are you feeling after that solid win in the round of 64?
I feel pretty good about that one. Conrad's a really aggressive, high gear player, so I knew I had to start well and put the heat on him, and that was the game plan. You want to do that every match, of course, but
Right.
sometimes with the flow players, the guys that like to get it going and catch that rhythm. If you can put them under the gun from the start, it makes it tougher on them, and sometimes that helps. If that even makes sense.
No, 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 it does. It does.
Yeah.
I mean, like strategy, I feel like certain players are like they want to keep strategy close to the vest. So it's really interesting hearing that from you because most players aren't going to be as candid in that regard. And I'm sure it's easier after the fact than it is going into the match, at least talking about it publicly. But no, man, I mean, massive congratulations. Last year you were in the semifinals. Like, what is it about this event, Niels, where you just seem to feel comfortable and just get going at the right time of year?
They just asked me that question. It's a good question.
All right.
I think without even thinking about it, the U.S. Open's the only major I haven't won. I got third, I got fourth, fifth, seventh, all the way back at the old venue in Chesapeake, which I think was the best venue ever, with the high ceilings and the atmosphere there. Great memories, but I always love to play in the US. I think the fans are very knowledgeable. The atmosphere is always really, really cool. I have a really big fan base from my YouTube channel. If you look at the stats, I have like 50% of the viewers are from the US. Also, from my mental training courses at the Terminator College, I think over 50% are from the US. So I want
That's
to
awesome.
thank everybody for joining and hope more students will join. New focus course came out a few months ago. So I had to bring that in here.
No,
That's
no, no, for sure, by all
you know
means.
what I mean. That's my puppy. I always
Yeah.
I think over the years, focus and attitude have always been my strong suits, without bragging. So I like to help other players in the mental department. And like I said, I just love to play in the US. It's a great place to play.
Niels, how do you budget that content creation side of it? And do you have any help with it? Or is it just you like editing and plus training and plus being a dad? I mean, like I can't even imagine. I mean, I'm in a lot of those boats, but I'm not a world-class player, obviously.
Yeah, we spoke about it last year live when you were here,
Yeah.
and I think already if after COVID, I was struggling really a lot with. I had the YouTube channel, was making courses, and then the show got rolling again, and I was struggling to like balance it all out. And
Yeah.
uh, it was frustrating to see for myself like, hey, I can reach this, but I'm not putting in the time, I'm not putting in all the effort, plus my
Yeah.
motivation, to be honest, wasn't that high anymore after being on the tour for over 25 years. I've seen it, and my focus is now a little bit more on spending time with the family. I want to see the kids more. Lena's almost 15. Before you know it, she might be out of the house. So like I said last year,
It
I
goes
don't
by
consider
fast.
myself full pro anymore. It's more part-time, but I'm still capable of really executing at a high level. Won the Valley Forge in April, and but I'm really passionate about the mental side of the game. I got my mental performance certificate from Brian Kane a few months ago, and I want to do another training course. Also, because I think that's a great thing to share for the pool world. I think I would like to share more mental training things, courses, tips, reels for players, make them more aware of how important it is and how you can train it. And then I got the family, I got the YouTube channel, do all the editing, like you say. So I really have to balance it out well. I like to, be on the bike, work out. So it's I believe in time blocks, right? I schedule my day in blocks so I
Do
don't
you
get overwhelmed. I
2 hours,
take
hour 90 minutes, things like that?
yeah, hour, it's 90 minutes, and then 15-minute break, do another block, and then 3 o'clock. From 3 o'clock, I want to spend time with the kids
Well,
and family time.
don't forget the DJ part of it because I stumbled upon I don't know how some page of yours and it doesn't say Niels. I can't remember what it says. I'm sure you know obviously, but it was like a selfie mode and Niels is just jamming out and playing the track and pretty solid,
Here,
man.
I've been DJing since I was 18, right? And I haven't had time to DJ for years, but I've been producing music also for about a decade. And if you go to Spotify,
There it
check it
is.
out.
There it is. That's what it was. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go.
Nellis. So I
There
got,
you
I
go.
think
Nellis.
over 60 tunes out there, and it's house music, right? Tech house. I'm into tech
There you
house
go.
music. And I got another song coming out in 2 weeks, I think, 2 or 3 weeks on a really big label. But like I said, I don't have enough time to produce. I haven't made a track in 3 weeks. And if I have time, it's always on the road. But I don't want it
Well,
to conflict with my game, so I gotta tone it down.
send me the link. I'll share it on Windows Open. We can help get the word out there for that as well. Niels, I want to just touch base on you real quick on the World Championship. It wasn't the result you expected. Give me your thoughts on that. You talk about the mental side of it. What was kind of going through your mind after coming up short in that event?
Well, I really believe in even if you have a crappy event, I always
Yeah,
try to do like a post-event feedback for myself. Like the first thing is always what went well, because you
yeah,
can go in a hole if you're just going,
for sure.
this went bad, that went bad, and then before you know it, you're in a slump, which we've all experienced. So I always like to ask the question, what went well? And I think I was braking really good. I was working on my brake left side, right side, and I'm really good at doing both sides now. So that was a positive. What went well? I wasn't prepared for the shot clock on the stream tables. Normally, like in any tournament, the stream tables there's no clock except for like when you get into the last 16 and stuff.
Right.
But and then you're ready for it. And now I showed up and it was like boom shot clock, and I just hadn't prepared. I prepared for everything, and I hadn't prepared in 2 weeks before any time with practicing like a little bit on the clock, like make it sharp and faster, right?
Yeah.
Snappy. So I got a little bit panicked against Roland Garcia. I went down 8-0. Played poor, made it 8-4, lost 9-5 or 9-4, whatever. And then I thought I had the day off. I went back to the hotel. I had to play 11 at night. So I was like, man, this is World Championships. We got to play
Yeah.
11 at night. So I wasn't too pleased with it. But again, you got to control the controllables. That was totally out of my hands. Showed up, started really well. Again on a stream table, went up 4-1, 7-6, and then made an error and and then lost 9-7. He broke and ran out.
But you're
So
human, Neil. So it's like you see the schedule and you're like, fuck, man, it's 11 o'clock World Championship. How do you like? What are you telling yourself in those moments to like just stay in those moments?
yeah, like I said, you can wind yourself up. If you look at it, you can have a couple of seconds like, man, and then it's like, hey, that's how it is. I can't change it. Got to get ready, get mentally
Mm,
ready, and also at those big events, if you start with a loss, it's nice to get a win under your belt, right?
yeah,
So uh, and nowadays, if you play two matches on the first day, you could be out on the first day, and that
crazy.
and
Yeah,
that sucks. So I lost. I was in the Uber at 1 o'clock at night. I knew there was night flights. I found a cheap flight at 5 in the morning. So an hour and a half later, I was at the airport, and I was
gone.
home at 2 in the afternoon. So it was really weird. It's like I hadn't even showed up there, and I was already
I'm sure
back
the
home.
girls appreciated that. As a dad,
The
I
girl,
know
yeah,
I
the
know how
girls are
tough
like,
it is.
hey, yeah, let's party. But I wasn't, of course, too pleased. But hey, what are you gonna do? It's life. But that's the good thing being a dad, right? If you're before the kids, if you're single, you're moping in the room.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about the loss, and now you come home. It's like, hey, we got to do this, we got to do that. It's family time, and that puts things in good perspective.
Well, the great thing about being a dad, and I don't know about you, but it's like no, whenever I'm in any kind of mood or down or whatever, like I can always just FaceTime the girls and they don't care what's going on in the pool world or what's going on like in this and that. They just they love you and they miss you, and they have a way of just saying the right things or the funny things or the annoying things or whatever, you know what I mean? Or in some cases you got to play a referee, I'd imagine, as well. So Niels, what's the goal for this trip in the US Open? Like, is it just win or bust, or what are you realistically telling yourself, at least after today's win?
Well, I know a good thing is if you know yourself, right, over the years, and I think the longer I get in an event, the better I play, especially now because I didn't play the 2 3 events before, so I sometimes need a little bit of match time. I'm more like a diesel, so I know that. So
There you
the
go.
more I play, the better I play. So I think my execution will just get better the more matches I play, and I'm just taking a really one rack at a time. I'm not going like, oh, this is my chance this year. Oh, blah, blah. That's BS. You gotta. There's so many good players. You gotta be right there when it's time to go. And tomorrow, yesterday, that's all gone. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It's like that chance that's coming up right there, that break, that position shot, that kick, that save, that's the stuff that matters, and the rest is all fantasy land. So
That's the winning mentality, man. It's like I always say this, where big players go and take it, and when the moment comes, you guys go and are after it, and you live in that moment where you know, and it's not so much getting too far ahead of yourself or too down on yourself, depending on the situation. But that's one of the things that I admire about guys like you. And you mentioned like the year and what's the goal? Like, are you looking at just U.S. Open in a vacuum, or are you looking at Moscone Cup this year?
you know what was the mental trap, Mike? When I told myself beginning of oh no, the end of last year, I said, you know what, I want to tone it down a little bit. I want to play the events that I want to play.
I remember, yeah,
uh, and I played in Morocco. This was when the Moscone ranking was done, and I had no clue when it was going to start again. I just wasn't like thinking about it. I went to Morocco, got second, flew over to the U.S. International, got third. That meant now all of a sudden I'm like second in the Moscone ranking or something,
yeah,
and I think Moritz was first, and I got second. I'm like, whoa, they started already again. So now I got to just so instead of saying like, hey, I'm gonna tone it down. I'm second in the Moscone ranking. So how can you
yeah,
not like have a little go at it? But that
right,
meant like now I'm starting to chase all these tournaments that I really didn't really want to play, like the
right.
smaller ones, and uh, so I wasn't doing really what my heart said I had to do. And then you know what? And then Florida, and they announced Florida, Philippines, Vietnam, and I said, you know what? It's good enough. This is good enough. I want to play the U.S. Open. I'm not going to play those other 2 events. It's too much for me in my situation and what I desire to do in my life. So, and that's totally fine. So I'm not thinking about the Moscone Cup at all. If I get in, great. But I want to go as deep as I can in this one. And the way I'm playing, I still have a lot of air left in the tank. So the cue ball doesn't know how old you are. You just got to execute.
The cue ball doesn't know how old you are. I'm putting that on a shirt, and I'm gonna quote you on it, Niels. We'll chop up the profits. No, I'm kidding. Look, I'll ask you one more Moscone Cup question, and then I'll leave it alone. If they offered you the position of a coach, would that be something you would entertain, or are you still like, is it just I want to play still, and I'll get to that eventually?
No, I think I'm ready to do like the coaching part of it. Like I said, I've been working a lot on the mental performance side, so I think I can help the guys. But on the record, I don't know what's going on with this player captain thing. I think it's a little bit crazy, to be honest, also financially. But hey, what are you gonna do? So that's how it is. If
El-
they in the
Elaborate on that, Niels, if you don't mind. I mean, if you want to, I should say.
No, I think if a player gets double finances for being a player captain, for showing up, and then also for the win, the financial status the event has now, which is amazing. I think that's a little bit over the top. Even if you perhaps are not even in the top five to qualify, then you would get a wild card and you would get a lot of money, but which
Yeah.
that happened last year, and I'm not sure if it was the year before also. But that's the way they're going now, so you have to respect that. But if in the future they would ask me for a coaching position, and I'm not in the in the standings to be qualified, then yeah, I would definitely consider it. Yes.
Niels, what's the plan for the rest of the day? I know you get another match now that you've won the round of 64, but what are you doing between now and then?
Well, normally I always head over to the beach here, get some fresh air, clear my mind. But it's been horrible
Yeah.
weather, man, and I still went for 3 walks already. The first day was great, and
How many
yesterday was
miles?
cloudy. I think I do about maybe 3 miles. I do like a half hour, 45 minutes one way, and then back. You know, it's great. Sometimes
If you
when
don't
I
mind me
came here,
asking, what's the time, Niels? Because I wanna see where you're at. I barely started doing cardio. It's not something that I enjoy. But what are you running per mile?
oh, I don't run.
No.
I bike.
Okay, okay.
So I'm on where I live. There's a lot of small hills. So if I'm in good shape, I do about 29, 30 kilometers an hour with incline and stuff. So that I usually go for about 90 minutes. I got a ride actually when I come
Dang,
home.
that's intense. Jeez.
It is intense, but I like it's a good balance for me. With pool, you got to sit still, you got to focus, you got to be composed, and on the bike, I can just put the hammer down. It puts me but yeah, good combination. And there's a nice ride. It's like a 45-mile ride in a week on Sunday, where they did the Tour de France 2 years ago, stage two. That area has a lot of hills, and we're gonna do a ride there. Me and my brother-in-law. So
I love
I'm
that,
looking
man.
forward to that one. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. So I either work out in the garden, like fitness, Pilates stuff, or I'm on the bike the other day, 3, 4, 5 times a week.
Well,
So
I encourage you sharing that aspect as well, Niels. I feel like it'll be beneficial for fans and for health experts alike. You know what I mean, and just general people. So, listen, I appreciate your time.
you got it,
Congratulations on a
man.
great round of 64. I know the job's not done, but I'll be rooting for you as always. The Hall of Famer Niels Feijen. Thanks a lot, buddy.
You got it, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, that was kind of impromptu, to be honest with you. I messaged my man Jack from Matchroom and said, "Hey, listen, I want to get Niels on. This is probably like, I guess, 20 minutes or so ago now, and he came through super clutch for me. So much appreciated, Jack, as always. Like I mentioned, the U.S. Open is going on. I'm gonna bring up the live scoring for you guys and just kind of sweat through some of the matches. I've been watching like 4 matches the entire morning long. As soon as everything got started, FSR in a battle with Jesus 7-7. That one's going the distance, it looks like. Rhoda 9-7 over Solnaki. Lucas 5-4 on Albin. Listen, this is a huge matchup for Moscone Cup potential for this young man from the East Coast, and I don't want to like undervalue it, or at the same time, I guess I don't want to put too much on it either. But for a kid like Lucas, and I mentioned this yesterday on a couple of posts, it's like you're in a really good spot to kind of like go and take the bull by the horns. And if you were to go and win today, if you're Lucas, I would say you've got yourself in a pretty good spot, not just financially in terms of the rankings, but just in general. Like, I think you make a solid case for a Moscone Cup run. So him being 5-4 up over Albin is huge. I'm going to see if my computer will bear with me here because it's a touchscreen. It's a little, yeah. 8-4 Huang over Matt Edwards. Matt's had a great tournament as well. Chen Yu Long 3-0. Marco Tucher, man, this kid just continues to be a monster killer in Marco. And I know Bissett is at 4 now, but that's going to be a great matchup. Mickey Kraus and Alex Kazakis, that one's got huge implications as well. I think Naoki Oi takes out Jonas, which that one's going to be massive for Moscone Cup rankings. And that's always going to be the test when it comes to these events. You know what I mean? As far as like where you're going to go engage things at, it's always going to be on Moscone Cup. Mora 8-7 over Marvin Assis. Potential for a world spot if you're John, if you can make a decent run. Filler just started his matchup, Wojciech and Oscar. So a lot of good stuff coming up. I'll see if I can bring up the matches that are coming up and kind of dissect them here in a little bit. I'll be honest with you, like I don't like doing shows by myself. I just feel really like awkward and uncomfortable if I'm being completely honest with you guys. So little Chris says, thoughts on Earl? You know, it's kind of to be expected, and I hate to say it, and this isn't anything that is surprising considering what Earl's done over the last couple years in terms of being on a TV screen. I think it's a bit unfortunate. I think he still has some some greatness left in him in terms of like what he can create on the table. And I wish he would kind of just leave it at that, to be honest with you, and kind of quit all the bullshit. But just talking with Niels and how important the mental side of it is, and then looking at what a train wreck that I feel like Earl can be, it's very much a contrast, and it's kind of ironic, and I wish that Earl would kind of check himself a little bit, and because I would just as much be a fan of his like I was all those years ago in terms of just watching his great cue ball and his style of play and all these things. Vito says Beato's out, so that's a shocker. Big shout out to Dennis Gray, because that's a big win for Dennis as well, and kudos to him because he stays mentally in it, and he kind of he's been on the outside looking in and on the inside looking out in terms of some of these events, and but to get a win over Carlo is pretty awesome. Matt says, curious to see if the crowd can recapture the engagement saw at the Florida Open. Yeah, I hope so. It's tough because I feel like culture is such a big part of that, Matt. And the Vietnamese, they just have that culture of celebrate and cheerfulness and happiness. And the same thing goes for like that Latin community. They're down there in Florida, they're vocal, they're passionate. And sometimes, girls can be a little crazy, passionate too, you know what I mean? So, but like, that's part of it. And I love that. I feel like you'll get different things depending on what part of the world that you're in. And so that's kind of like how I go engage it. I don't the US Open fan base, I've been there before many times, and it's a very knowledgeable crowd, but they're very respectful. I wish they can kind of be a little bit more out there and more like just have more personality, but I feel like it's a there's a lack of that in general when it comes to pool. So let me bring up the bracket for today. Round of 64 is going to not hopefully, is going to finish off today, including the round of 32. We'll be down to 16. It looks like Huang is at 9-4 now over Matt Edwards. Let me know in the chat what you guys are looking forward to as well as I bring up this bracket. Federer over Carl Naderberg, big favorite is Federer, and he's in a very good spot. I feel like that matchup between Victor and Harry is going to be the only chance where Federer's got to go out before the round of 8. To be honest with you, he's a kid like Naderberg. He's got a bright future, but kind of similar to Lucas, where it's just like if you want to get more respect, you got to go and take advantage of opportunities. And I'm just not a buyer yet until I actually go and see it. Roberto and Curall, it's kind of the same thing. Roberto has been in the finals of a world championship. Curall part of like kind of on the outside in terms of that Polish contingent, but it's going to be interesting to see if any of those guys give Federer any kind of threat. I'm not banking on it personally, but that's just my thought on it. Victor and Harry is a really intriguing matchup, and Harry took out Claudio yesterday. Victor's got a lot of promise, and he's got high expectations, and so I'm rooting for Victor, but that Filipino is going to be tough. Rick says Jesus is on the hill. Man, I want to go sweat some of these matches now. Now that you let me know that I got it as 8-7. He's saying it's 9-7 now. That'll be a huge win for Jesus, and whoever gets through there, if it is Jesus, don't let off the gas, because that's a huge spot in the bracket where I really like the winner of that matchup coming through. So I'm going to cruise on down here, Shuff, and this gentleman Fitim. I don't know who he is. I mean, I recognize the name, but as far as seeing him compete more on a world stage, I'm just not that versed, to be honest with you. Huang up 9-4. Matt's had a great tournament, but Huang's just on a whole other level, in my opinion. Michael Buchanan defeats Tyler Steyer 10-4. Kind of cruising through here a little bit more. Still going to be keeping an eye on that Lucas Werner match. That one's going to be huge for me. We just got Niels on the show. Bader 9-4 over Nicholas Tan. Alexa Pachel, another kid with a big opportunity. Fortunsky with a huge win over Bernie Regalario. Chua and Thorsten, took out the young phenom that is Felix Vogel. So can he continue that against a kid like Johan, who's just having a monster year? Yap and Arsini, I hope I'm pronouncing this young man's name correctly. I'm sure I'm butchering it, but that's going to be a good litmus test for this kid and see where he's realistically at. I know he's a bit cold-blooded, and he took out Shane, as all you guys know, in the whatever round it was, in the the other day, whatever it was. And so see if he can follow that up with a win over Yap. That'll really put him on the map. Rhoda 9-8 over Oliver. Chris Reinhold and Sullivan Clark 6-6. Chris is a little bit. It's tough to say, like, when it comes to Chris, because he doesn't really play these bigger events very often, so I don't really know how he's going to go and fare. I'm a fan of Chris. I'm a friend of Chris's, and I root for him. Sullivan's a great story as well. Really sharp kid. Really just love his attitude. But I'm not sure how to take that match, to be honest with you. Tikon 1-1 with Mustafa. Oscar's down 2-0 to Wojciech. Cheng Yu Lung 4-0 over Hayato. Filler was still 1-1. Kachi and Kopinyi. That one's going to be an interesting matchup, is the Kachi and Kopinyi one, because obviously I kind of made a little post in jest about Kachi being in the Filipino protection program, because he's just in such an area of the draw that's shocking to me, considering the amount of Filipinos that are there. And so, but that matchup against Big Co is going to be box office. Co obviously coming off knocking out SVB at this tournament. So let me know in the chat who you guys have in there as well. Braden asks, is Felix still in? Felix lost to Thorsten yesterday. Johnny says Shaw and Max should be a good matchup. Look, man, I've had strong opinions when it comes to Jason and odds going into tournaments. But like I mentioned the other day on the show with Mike, I think Jason's playing extremely well. He looked really sharp the other day, and I'm looking forward to seeing just what he can do in this tournament, and he's held to that like a number one standard when it comes to players. I don't know if results reflect that. But considering like just what I saw the other day in terms of his game, he was shooting like an A1 player, and he's so exciting to go and watch when he's behind the ball, and he's fluid and in motion, and just, he's not one of these boring European players to go and watch. So I really appreciate that about Jason. Chan, who took out Sky, is up 3-0 on Koping Chung. I don't know who the hell this kid is, but I'm going to go watch him if I get a chance, because if he beats Koping Chung, former winner of this event, that one's going to be a big shock, especially considering there's a potential for a Co versus Co matchup in that side of the bracket. Wu Kun Lin and Daniel Maciel right below Moritz and Lee Van. That's a tough area of the bracket. Just these four matches in general are going to be extremely difficult. Shaw and Max, Moritz and Lee Van. Flip a coin there for me. Moritz has got a high ceiling. Lee Van's extremely decorated in season. He's a tough out and an absolute grinder. No give up in him. And Moritz, it's kind of like, you're in this area of the Europeans, and at this point of the year, you're in this area where you can make a move, and so, but you're going to have to come away with not just signature wins if you're European, because you also have to make leaps when it comes to ranking points as well. So a lot at stake for the young German. Will Kunlin and Daniel, flip a coin there. I don't know who the hell to go and pick. And then Dennis, big win over Carlo Beato. You guys can check out the bracket at WNT TV. They got a live scoring area on there. I'm going to try to get Mike on a little bit later on. I don't know where he's at. I'm sure he's traveling right now, but we'll try to get him on a little bit later. WNT TV for all the matches as well, at least as far as like 3 tables, which is pretty sweet. Anyhow, let me know if you guys have any more questions for me. If not, I'm going to get on out of here. I'm going to go sweat the end of this Jesus and FSR matchup. That one's going to be box office. Jerry says we want Kachi. I hope we get to see Kachi. I don't know if he'll get past Kopinyi, because he looked really tough for me yesterday, and I'm actually picking Ko in that matchup. Although for Moscone rankings, I hope that that Kachi makes a bit of a run, because I'd love to see him kind of shake things up a little bit. Anyhow, appreciate all you guys for hanging out with me. I know it's a bit impromptu. As matches end, I'm going to try to get more players on, so just keep your notifications on. Big shout out to all of our sponsors who help make the show possible. Couldn't do it without them. And yeah, just keep following the page. I'm going to try to get more guys on as matches conclude, and depending on the story. So thanks again to Niels. Thanks again to Jake from Match